Happy Black Friday, everybody. This is Nancy Carr, Communications Director with AARP Maryland. And today, Chef Christine is going to tell us what to do, show us some really fun things we can do with our Thanksgiving leftovers. What do you have for us today?
All right. Well, good morning, Nancy. Kudos to you working on Black Friday. I love it. I'll tell you, my whole Black Friday this year is going to be cyber. I'm not going anywhere except back and forth to my fridge so that I can keep eating the gross over amount of cooking that I did yesterday. I somehow forgot that I was only cooking for a couple of people. So I have tons of leftovers today. And what I wanted to do was show everybody how to kind of go the way of my grandma and my mom and make some stuffing balls and mashed potato cakes. So this is, I mean, seriously, this is not hosing in any way, shape, or form. But I truly believe that the day after Thanksgiving, your only responsibility is to sit back, watch a lot of television, read some books, and eat all your leftovers. So let's
That sounds like a good plan for the day.
Isn't that good? I know. That's my favorite. I like to do nothing. When I was younger, I had it in me to like go to the stores. Never that really early thing, but I had it in me to go to the stores. And now I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. So I made some stuffing, and it's so funny. I knew I was doing this demo, so I totally packed some extra because I know how much everybody loves stuffing. And my grandma used to make these, and I think she would put in a can, and I'm certain it was a can of chopped clams. And I mean, she was from PA. This was no, like she was going back to her New England roots. She was PA through and through. There was no fanciness here at all. But I've got some stuffing. Now, I don't cook my stuffing in the bird because food safety and all that good stuff. If you've got any kiddos in the house, this is a great job for them because all we have to do is add some eggs to our leftover stuffing because eggs are kind of a binder, right? Eggs are going to hang out and keep everything together. If your stuffing is, I hesitate to use the word moist, Nancy. I know people hate that word. But if your stuffing is moist, then you can go ahead and maybe even skip the egg. I don't know. I kind of just add it in because I like a little insurance policy. Oh, there we go. So
a lot of stuffing recipes actually contain egg anyway.
All right, well, we're going to have an issue with that, but we can discuss that later. So your stuffing should be so good you don't need the egg. We're not doing it today because we just want a little bit of binder. And it's so squishy. Can you hear it? Can you hear it like making burping sounds? Oh, so mortified. So I've got my oven set at 350 degrees. You don't have to go crazy here. I might have even over-egged. I have, I don't know, probably 3 cups of stuffing, 3 cups here, and I use 2 eggs. You probably get away with 1 because again, we just are using it. The egg is our glue. That's all it is. So 350 on your oven, and then I have this little, Nancy, I know I've talked about before when I've done demos and stuff with you guys, but I am completely obsessed with these quarter sheet pans. I love them so much.
They're great for a small family like mine.
Mine too. I mean, listen, when the kids were both living at home, I could use, the big pans all the time. But now that's just us. Now my daughter is home. She's in her senior year in college. She is home right now for, probably 2 months. But generally it's just 2 of us. And I use these little guys all the time and they fit in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
I'm so lazy. So I've got this. I'm going to knock these out. If you want to add anything to it, I was thinking if you had some leftover turkey and you cut your turkey up really small, you don't want huge pieces in this, but you don't want to make it mush either. But if you take
that sounds like a really great idea.
Right? It's kind of like a whole meal in a ball.
I love it.
So we've got, this is good. This is going to make Enough of these. All right, cool. My brothers used to hork down the clam balls. I know it's so funny when I think back about it, but this is it. You can see how easy is that. That's the joy of Thanksgiving leftovers, I think. Let me wash my hands up real quick. Nancy, do you have leftovers? Are you gonna do
Oh, I
anything?
have so many leftovers. I've
Yeah,
got lots of stuffing and potatoes and
yeah.
cranberry. And I like to make a Thanksgiving sandwich and just pile it all on a leftover dinner roll.
Yeah, I am so with you there. Oh, I wonder if I have leftover dinner rolls. I'll have to look and see. But I am so with you there. I love that stuff. Um, I don't know. I feel like to be a little chefy, I have to repurpose it sometimes. But I think this will work today. And then we do baked corn. I think it's like a Pennsylvania Dutch thing, but we
Yeah.
do baked corn and it is glorious. So
So what
I
are we
have
doing now?
Okay, so I've got leftover mashed potatoes, which I can't even believe I do because they always eat all the mashed potatoes. And then I just thought I'd kind of fancy it up. I can't even believe I just said I'm going to fancy it up by including some cheddar cheese. But it's the good cheddar. And you can see I'm going to grate it myself because it's what I had. Also, I kind of avoid the pre-shredded cheese if I can, just because they put cellulose in it, and that's fine. But it's an anti-caking thing so that your cheese doesn't clump together. Well, we want our cheese to get super melty, and I thought I'd make cheddar mashed potato cakes. And these
That
are not,
sounds
I
amazing.
know, if you had any bacon bits or even deli ham. I don't know if I'd go turkey. You could do turkey here, but I'll tell you what, cheddar cheese, whatever you've got, is going to work out really well. Isn't that so funny? Cold mashed potatoes. There it is. I remember my dad would always beg my grandma to make potato candy. Do you remember potato candy? It's it's made of
No,
like, oh,
that I've never heard of potato candy.
you never heard of potato candy? Oh my gosh. I remember my dad acting like it was the holy grail of all things. And my grandmother was always like, no, it's too hard to make. And it wasn't. It was basically mashed potatoes and confectioner sugar, and then peanut butter and confectioner sugar. And it ended up in a roll, and then she would slice it.
That
And,
sounds like another good idea for another show.
oh, I'll have to figure out how she made it. I know my dad was crazy about it.
So Leah asks, what can I do with whole cranberry sauce?
Oh, Leah, I just eat it. I really do. Did you? I'm curious if Leah made it herself or if it was from the can, because
No.
we have some big debates in this family about what the appropriate thing to do is cranberry wise. I think I'm correct because I'm the chef, but I can hear my daughter in the background going, "No, you're not. No, you're not."
Leah says she makes it herself.
I thought she might. So, Leah, seriously, I only use it to smear it on a sandwich. I wish I had something really exciting and fantastic for you, but alas, I do not. I don't
It might
know.
taste good with those turkey ball with
The
the
stuffing, I was
the
thinking the
stuffing balls.
stuffing balls. Yeah, I was thinking that. All right, so check this out. When you make, and I remember my mom would make these, and this was such a special occasion, and all she would do is put an egg and a little bit of flour. So the reason we're doing that, both of those things are going to help it just stick together a little bit. And these, I think I said, these are nothing like latkes. These are nothing like the shredded potato pancakes that, oh my gosh, are one of my favorite things in the whole world. For about 2 cups of potato, I'm using, I don't know, maybe half a cup of flour. But this is where I need you to not freak out, okay? It's leftover mashed potatoes. Be zen. It's totally cool. Don't freak out about measuring and making sure it's all right. Always start with a little, you can add more. You saw me hitting it with some pepper. I think I'm gonna get a little pinch of salt into, even though my potatoes were perfectly seasoned yesterday. I want to get everything mixed in here. And we want it so that it's gonna hold together. That's all we're going for. You can tell I'm a very hands-on cook today, right? I don't know. I feel maybe it's my grandma coming back to me because I just feel like you gotta get your hands in there. That's why I don't wear any fancy rings or anything. All right, so what we want, oh, look at that. So check this out. It's just a little more bound together. That's it. You don't want to have a lot of flour in there because raw flour in small amounts, it's going to be totally fine for you. But if you make it in, if you just dump it in there, I think you're gonna taste it. I planned poorly. I put my lid back on. Now listen, I am gonna use some real butter because baby, that's how I roll. I'm gonna try not to use too much, but the butter is what puts it over the edge for me. Now to keep these guys pretty consistently shaped, I just pulled out my ice cream scoop because I love the ice cream scoop. But you can see I have a little ice cream scoop of mashed potatoes. I'm just going to pat it out a little bit because I don't want it to be too thick. My preference is to cook this in the pan only. And I have a nonstick pan here over like a medium-high heat. If you want, you can brown them and then pop them in the oven for a couple of minutes just to make sure they're heated through. But I'm just going to try and knock these guys out. You see that? If you had bacon bits, if you had ham, if you, I was even thinking, this is not sacrilege, I promise. I was even thinking I have some kale in the fridge, and I was like, oh, you could take it and cut it very small. We want to cut it very, very small, but you could do that for
That's one way to get your kids to eat kale.
That's it. So, Nancy, have you thought at all about what you're going to do? I know it's almost sacrilege to ask, but what you're going to do about Christmas dinner? Because I don't feel like we're going to be gifted with this gorgeous weather we had yesterday.
I know. It's wonderful. My favorite thing to do for Christmas dinner is a standing rib roast.
Oh, that's glorious.
And then make when I have my leftovers, just make the world's most glorious beef vegetable soup.
Yeah, glorious is an understatement, I think. Oh my gosh. I usually do a whole beef tenderloin. My husband's family would always do that, and I just thought it was the height of being posh.
It is. It is.
My family, we would usually do a ham, and I remember my dad would be like, he's the only one. Well, there are two people who've been able to call me Chrissy in my life, and he would, slip me some money and go, Chrissy, go get us one of those fancy hams. And I'd be like, okay, Dad. So I don't know. I went easy though. I felt like I worked way too hard yesterday.
We used to get the spiral cut honey ham for Thanksgiving or for Christmas, and it's delicious and so easy.
Oh, I love it, and I love those. I always pick the layer off the top.
Yes.
I'm like the worst person because I'll like pick the turkey skin off. I'll pick I'm like, well, I'm the cook. I'm doing all the work. I deserve it. So I'm going to bring you over for just a second so you can see what we're doing here. Check this out. So when we're sauteing, it is really important that we don't crowd everything in there, right? We want to give them a little breathing room. These guys are touching. I prefer that I had done a little better job there, but we're just going to let them get brown and then flip them over. Food can't brown and get lovely on you if you have it all squished up against each other. Can't do it. All right. And this is so easy that truly we're just going to flip them and pull them out and they'll be gorgeous and ready. And I'll do them all. I have a couple left. I probably have 3 more in there, but you can see the edges start to get a little brown. I love those. And sometimes they fuss with me and they don't want to flip right, and I don't care because it's leftovers. And I do think a little of your leftover cranberry is going to be delightful here, Leah. This is the stuff. I'll bet you could deep fry this too. If you did any deep frying, maybe. If you did the turkey, if anybody deep fried the turkey, this is so funny. We did a couple of family Zoom calls last night, And my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they always deep fry their turkey. I have always liked having the turkey deep fried because it gets people out of the kitchen, and then I'm not responsible for that part. But they said, "Oh, it got a little overdone." And my sister-in-law sent me a picture. I kid you not, the bird was black. It was charred. It was charred.
That's hilarious. When my extended family gets together, we always have we have the traditional turkey, and my brother always brings the deep fried turkey.
Yeah.
And then we have a Southern Maryland stuffed ham.
Oh.
But when my extended family gets together, that's probably 35 people.
Oh my gosh. See, I grew up in Pennsylvania, and we had, I guess I didn't realize how special it was when we had it. But we had this family cabin that my great grandfather had built. So it was, I mean, we had an outhouse. I kid you not, my whole life, they never upgraded indoor plumbing. I never understood. We had a sink, we had a stove, we had all that good stuff. And we would go, and I kid you not, I remember years when there were 60 people for Thanksgiving, and it was a little 4-room cabin. It was tiny. We would eat on the steps. We would eat in shifts, right? Because there were so many people. And then no dishwasher, of course. And we would do, oh my gosh, so many dishes. And it was really funny. It was very stereotypical because, you know, the fellas would all leave. And I remember the grannies getting up at like 4 a.m. because they would lay us out on the floor. All the kids would be laid out in a line.
That's what we would do that too. We would have, when we get together with cousins and things like that, everybody always packed a sleeping bag. And wherever there was a floor space, there was a child, and maybe even a aunt and uncle asleep.
That's it, and no shower. I remember sink baths, too grossly inappropriate, too old of an age for sink baths. But I remember all of that.
Carrie says if anybody is local in Frederick, she says, AKA Frisco's exploded potatoes would be really good.
I can't even talk to you about that because I swear I almost went to get them for my Thanksgiving because they are so good. They are so good. And I know you guys cover all of Maryland, but I'm going to tell you, it is worth the trip to Frederick for so many things. But Frisco's exploded potatoes, I swear, that's why I had my heart attack. I swear it is. I swear it is. It's so good. So check this out. I've got one of these guys ready. Can you see him? And he's brown and crispy up here, and he's a little squishy. Oh, it's so good. I'm totally going to eat all of these. I don't want to tell my family. They can probably smell everything getting delicious, though. And see how quickly you knock those out? Oh, my gosh. I had to go to, I told Nancy before, I had to go to cardiac rehab this morning because I legitimately had a heart attack back in September. I'm starting to understand why now that I'm looking at what I'm doing. But I went to cardiac rehab this morning and I was like, well, I know what I'm doing with my leftovers, so I have to be a good girl. I have to do a good job today. Here we go. Oh, I'm so into these. These make me think of my mom. So now I'm going to tell you, I think, truthfully, mine could use a skosh more flour. I think a skosh more flour, they would bind a little better, but, oh, look at that. And they're hot the whole way through. See, I don't know if you can tell they're steamy. Oh, so good. It's so annoying on all the food shows where the chefs are like, oh, it's so good, and you're eating nothing. Now, I do have a hint for you. If you're going to make the mashed potatoes and you're going to doctor them up, make one, taste it, cook it, taste it, make sure your seasonings are right. Raw egg, the food safety guidelines say you shouldn't eat raw egg. So I'll carry that through with this. But for seasoning, you're going to get a lot more seasoning. I use unsalted butter. So...
Christine, you don't use the turkey-shaped butter?
Can I tell you, I totally want one. It feels so indulgent to me.
It is, and for the price, it's definitely indulgent.
But I love it. But I love it. Like
I
that
know you
stuff,
too.
growing up with my Pennsylvania outhouse background, I feel like that's the height of fancy. I can't even deal with it.
Well, my
So
sister-in-law traditionally brings the pie and the turkey butter, so I had to go
she's
out
a good.
yesterday and get my own this time, but it sure made me feel
Oh,
like she was here.
oh. Well, listen, we're following the rules this
But
year, so we.
they're from Pennsylvania. I forgot to
Uh,
mention that part, from Bethlehem.
bet you said it right. You said it right. Look, Nancy's all proud because you can tell. I grew up in PA, so I'm in Frederick, so you can tell people who aren't from around because they call it Gettysburg. And I'm like, there's no Gettys. It's Gettysburg. Everybody knows that. That's how we say it. But that's so funny. You said Bethlehem. I went to college around there. So now this
Moravian?
is no. I was in Kutztown. Are you
Okay.
kidding?
Oh, that's where she went.
Pennsylvania, man. I hope maybe she was one of my friends. We're probably about the same age. She sounds like a great sister-in-law, though.
She is. She is.
Yeah.
All
I'm
the best
super
family
lucky.
members come from Pennsylvania. Don't tell me that.
I have really good sisters-in-law too. I'm missing seeing them this year, but I know we're doing the right thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
We are. All right, so this is my naughty secret. Sometimes it'll stick a little. My nonstick pan needs to be put out to pasture. This is like the little crispy bottom. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Oh, so good. Mm. So that's it. That is how quick it is. Because listen, after a whole day of cooking, you do not want to mess around with the whole afternoon or morning of getting the leftovers ready. But you deserve a little more panache, I think, than just throwing stuff on a plate and nuking it. There you go. So I'm going to finish these out. If you have questions, you can always check out our page at kitchenstudiofrederick.com. If you want to, you can find our Facebook page. I think that's good. I think I feel really good and hungry now. So, Nancy, do you have any other questions for me?
Wait.
Ooh, or do we have any on our Facebook page?
Yeah, what do you have in the oven?
I still have the stuffing balls. I pulled one out for us. Here, I'll show you. I got it. This guy's gonna get a little. All right. You should see. We just.
So hungry. I'm glad it's almost lunchtime.
I know. We planned this well. We throw all of our dirty towels down the basement steps, and then we grab them and throw them in the washer. I just looked down there because we threw them all down yesterday and haven't done anything. Now I see, like, what I'm doing. So we want these guys to start to get brown on us. I'm going to come to you.
I'm going to put you back on. There we go.
Yeah, right here. Hello. All right. So I want these guys to start getting a little brown. They're totally bound together. I don't flip them because I'm too lazy. But that's all you do. These guys are wicked hot. That's awesome. But I think they're ready. You can let them go a little longer. 350 oven. So you don't have to go, crazy. I didn't want to go 400 because I wanted to make sure they were hot throughout.
How do you tell when they're ready?
Take one out and check it. So here's the thing. I think people are super afraid of doing the wrong thing. Understood. But you're going to know best. Like, remember how I just said, check your seasoning, do one and check your seasoning on these potato cakes? Pull one out. They're super hot. They were steamy. I've moved it here. But I can tell I've got steam coming out of it. It's already been cooked. So we just need it to be hot. And these kids go crazy for these. So, so good. Oh, I make good stuffing. I love it.
So Leah says she's wondering if she could smash up roasted potatoes, sweet potatoes, and butternut instead of mashed potatoes. Could she do something similar?
This is why Leah is a genius, right? Because I'll tell you right now, we didn't do any sweet potatoes yesterday, but sweet potato cakes are even better than what you've got going on. So Leah, here's the thing I'd say. You may need a skosh more flour because sweet potatoes tend to be a little more wet, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Potatoes are kind of starchy and dry, but sweet potatoes not as much, right? They have a little more moisture. I'll use the word moisture. They have a little more moisture to them. But I would say do some, it's really good in your sweet potato. If you have a little chipotle, not a lot, and I don't mean a burrito, I mean actual chipotles, because they work with the sweetness and the sweet potato, oh my gosh, in a gorgeous way. So I love that idea. I would definitely watch your amount of egg on that. Definitely 1 egg for 2 cups, no more. But you'll probably need a little extra flour. So do it. Make sure it wants to stay together. And if you're not feeling rushed or pressured, you can form them and put them in the fridge for 15 or 20 minutes. Let them firm up a little and then go ahead and make them. Now, I'm too lazy to take the time to do that. But if you do that, I think you'll see that they'll go beautifully for you. I think you'd be really happy. That's gorgeous. Well done, Leah. There we go. That's it. That's so easy. I can hear the family moving around.
I don't know which one to try first.
I'm telling you, it'd be really fun if you guys do any of these. You can put a picture in comments, right, on the Facebook page. Yeah. You can take a picture, because I'll go back later today and look at it. But if you take any pictures, put them on the Facebook page, like under where this is. You can go back a little while later and just add to the comments. We would love to see.
That would be so much fun. That will be fun.
I love it when people send me pictures of what they made. A lot of times I feel inadequate because they do such a good job. But, these are leftovers. Just have some fun with it. Watch a Hallmark movie. Do the thing. Take it easy on yourselves. There you go.
Thank you so much, Christine. It's always so much fun learning how to cook with you.
Oh, Nancy, you're so sweet. I love working with you guys. You're just the best.
It's great. Thank you so much. I want you to get back to enjoying your day off, your Black Friday. Thank you, everybody else, for joining us. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm heading straight to the kitchen and making some of these recipes for lunch. I can't wait. Thanks, everybody. Be safe.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving.